Welcome back to No Sugar, no sugar nista, no sugar mama. Hi everyone, welcome back to No Sugar. Another day, another dollar.
Another day, another dollar, another holla, another like, another advice, another day to level up.
Yes, another day to level up your life.
Another cold truth coming at you that you ain't gonna want to hear.
Okay, on that note, today we want to talk to you guys about just healthy eating and having a healthy relationship with food. This feels like such a topic that is just implemented in our lives that we don't even realize it's a topic to talk about sometimes, but we do on Everything Kraus a lot. And yeah, we just wanted to bring that to the podcast because it hasn't always been this way for us, like how we eat and how our relationship with food is now. It definitely hasn't always been like this. I mean, we did touch upon this in one of our episodes, but kind of going into it more and explaining a little bit more of our background in why we do what we do and why we choose to live really a truly healthy lifestyle, a healthy, balanced lifestyle.
And the thing I really like about this topic is that it truly is, I think, the backbone of us. It's probably the one thing that I think is super consistent between you and I together and also in each of our individual lives, because how we eat really is a lifestyle. You know, it's not a diet we follow, it's how I plan to live the rest of my life. I know it's how you plan to live, and it fuels me and makes me really happy. So without further ado, let's get into what that lifestyle is.
Yes. So without further
ado.
That's from the toast.
Is it? I was going to say.
Yeah. Without further ado, hear the fast 5 stories that you need to know.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
As you can see, we love the toast. But yeah, so that lifestyle, I feel like, and I don't even know how else to word it other than I kind of just live like reading labels. And if I read a label and I like what I see, I'm okay. And I'm okay putting that in my body, then I'll eat it. You know, like,
yeah.
Oh, it's almost having like the freedom to make that decision. You know, like I don't have a certain diet telling me like you can eat this and you can't eat that. It's more of I'm just going to read what this piece of food is made up of and then make my judgment from there.
Yeah, and I think honestly the foundation of healthy eating goes back to labels. Like when I think about it, obviously there's different diets that work for different people. Some people can go carnivore, some people go plant-based, some people go keto, right? Like there's obviously different things, but at the basis of it all is clean ingredients. Like that's the point of every diet, I think. And when you just read the labels and you can understand every ingredient in the label, or you know everything that's going into your body, whether it's processed or homemade, it makes the food much more enjoyable, knowing that it's benefiting you, knowing that it's not ruining your insides or making
causing
you unhealthy.
cancer.
Causing cancer, exactly. So it's something that I think has become such a lifestyle for us that we enjoy versus a diet that we dread, because we enjoy putting in good ingredients. We enjoy knowing what's going into our body versus seeing a ton of dyes or a ton of seed oils that I don't even know what they are. I don't even know how to describe blue 5, whatever the hell it is. Like, I'm not putting that into my body. So,
well, it just feels so good knowing that like I can enjoy the food without worrying, even if it is like one of mom's Hershey chocolate cupcakes. Like, yes, that's maybe sugar and flour, but knowing what went into it, it feels really good knowing I'm not putting, like you said, a blue dye in my body or a seed oil and things that cause cancer and disease and all a long laundry list of shit in your body. But also when you were saying all that, I think my biggest thing with this whole healthy eating and reading labels, I'm so happy in the place where I am now, because even when I first started getting into the gym and like my fitness journey, like in a healthy way, so not like when I was in high school and working out for the sake of working out and whatever, like even the pre-workouts and the protein shakes I would make and the fitness people I would follow on Instagram, like this is no shot on them, but they were fueling themselves with protein bars that were filled with a bunch of junk. And I used to eat
Yeah.
them because I was like, oh, I'm getting my protein. I want to get more protein. And I want to take a pre-workout at 5:30 in the morning because I'm getting up early, not realizing like what those ingredients even were and like what I was putting into my body. So I feel like that's kind of why I'm even more passionate about it now, is just knowing like I went through the process of like all this different stuff to end up where I am in like its most
Yeah.
simplest form. You know, like
Yeah.
it's not complex. It's not complex. It's a
Yeah.
very straightforward way of living.
Yeah. And I think the biggest difference I see between how you got from there to there is going from worrying about how much you were eating to worrying about what ingredients you were eating, right? So
Mhm.
it went from, oh, okay, I got my protein in, but like I'm only gonna have 3 meals a day. Like, you know what I mean? It was
Yeah, it was
very focused on,
quality.
yeah,
It was about the
yeah,
quality, not the quantity of what it, and I say that all the time in my when I'm teaching a workout class, like quality over quantity, and it should be that way for your food.
yeah. You
You
need to
shouldn't
put,
sacrifice the quality of it because you're worried about how much of it you're eating.
yeah. The main reason I think that reading labels in general just really resonates with us and works well for us too is because food is supposed to be fuel. It is truly what keeps your body going. It's what helps you push through that extra set at the gym. It's what helps you get through the walk later at 5 p.m. It's what helps you work efficiently during the day. What helps my mind work throughout this podcast episode. And once I recognized, and I think you recognize too, that the food that I was eating was powering my body, my mind to be able to do all of these things, I started really caring about what was going into it. I was like, okay, well, how can I get the most premium fuel? And by doing that, I was reading the labels and I realized how much, like, if you were to read a bag of chips, like, what kind of fuel are you giving your body when you eat,
Mhm.
chips? Like, that's not going to set me up for success. So I think really recognizing it and paralleling like, wow, food is so much more than just something to like fill you when your stomach rumbles. It is so much more than that and it acts as so much more than that. I really started to care. Like I
Mhm.
saw it align in so many different aspects of my life and was like, wow, this is a priority.
Yeah, and, like, in the past, I feel like I looked at food as simply like food and calories, and as something I had, like, an addiction to almost, of I just
Yeah.
me wanting to eat more, and now I look at it, like you said, as fuel. Like, I look at as the makeup of my body,
Mhm.
and, like, okay, I wouldn't even have been able to teach my class this morning if I didn't eat a nutritious, well-balanced dinner last night. You know,
Exactly.
like, I wouldn't have gotten a good night's sleep, and I wouldn't have been able to get up and feel energized from 8 hours ago, from my meal 8 hours ago, and I think that's a big difference too, to look at food that way. Like, it sounds so simple, but I'm sure there's people listening that don't see food as fuel. They
Mhm.
don't realize that, like you said, eating a bag of chips might be causing that crash that you have every day. It might be causing those headaches. It might be causing your mood swings. You don't know
It might
what
cause you to
it's.
get a 70 on a test because you
Yeah,
can't remember the information you studied, like,
exactly.
literally.
And there's so much information out there now too, which I do think plays a massive part in where we are now with our relationship with food, because we start to follow people. We have very smart people in our family like Taylor and Evan who are very knowledgeable about food and ingredients and the benefits and what ingredients, we should avoid and why we should, like having the why and hearing the why really helps to understand, okay, like why are seed oils bad, right? Like we talk about that. And we plan on having episodes on this with people who can go more into detail, but it just, we have so much at our fingertips now, and I feel like a tip that I could just share is following people on Instagram that
Yeah.
promote healthy eating in a balance, like not a toxic way of like a diet, but just tell you straight up, like go down a grocery aisle and pick out something and tell you maybe why it's not the best thing for you to
Yeah.
buy for you and your family and your children or your sister and mom, you know?
Well, and that's also I think really the new wave, which I'm happy about, but of healthy eating is that most people you see on Instagram are nutritionists and they are focusing on the ingredients. And to me,
Mhm.
that's just like a clear answer that that's what matters is the ingredients. So these influencers are becoming more available to you that aren't diet focused. Like reading the labels is not a diet. It's just caring about what goes into your body and seeing food as a difference. And I think there's a lot more people promoting that instead of, oh, I'm a keto influencer. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like where as you want to follow them and you may not get what you're looking for, but you will always learn something from following a nutritionist like Food Happy with Taylor.
Yeah.
I learned so much from her post just by reading, like she'll break down an ingredient and exactly what it does to the certain process in your body. And knowing that, I'm like, wow, I'll never be able to put that ingredient in my body again. I don't want
Mhm.
to because I don't want that domino effect to happen within me. And that's
Mhm.
like it fosters the why within you to care about the labels. And you kind of need that why to, like if I didn't know why seed oils were bad, what would stop me from eating them?
Exactly.
So
I feel like it does kind of push this intuitive eating in a sense as well. Like me and you were talking about, and I don't mean to like steal your story, but how the other night you got a cheesesteak at a concert and
mhm.
you took a bite and you were like, this isn't even good. Like, it's not
Yeah,
like I'm like, oh, I can't eat this. It just didn't taste good to you. So you didn't eat it. And you weren't like
exactly. Yeah.
restricting yourself so much from food like that that you had to have it and you had to eat it regardless of what it tasted like. And I feel like this way of living, of just being really aware of what I'm putting in my body, has made me very intuitive about how I eat. Like, I eat
Yeah.
when I'm hungry, and maybe sometimes I'll snack when I'm not hungry, but I'm just bored. But then, like, I'll eat less of it. Like, I'll snack less. And before, it felt like I was like, when I was really restrictive, that I would become ravenous in a sense that I would literally try and eat as much food in 5 minutes when no one else was in the kitchen. How
Mhm.
quickly can I shove food in my mouth that I probably shouldn't be eating? And then I would just feel like shit after, like shit
Yeah.
physically, like sick to my stomach because I
Yeah.
ate 1,000 calories in 5 to 10 minutes,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
and honestly, even mentally too. Like the diet culture, I feel like has takes such a toll on your mental health. It is
Mhm.
so restrictive and it is so almost I hate to say psychotic, but like for me personally, it's a really negative thing. Like I
Mhm.
would become crazy about it and I don't like it, which is I just point out like why I like reading the labels because I think it's way more of a lifestyle. And I keep saying that because that's the emphasis on it. It's feasible and it's helps you live a longer, healthy life. It truly is meant for a lifestyle. It's how you're meant to live, I think. I think everyone's meant to live by the labels. And yeah, I don't know.
Live by the labels. Out of context, that could be taken very bad.
Oh god.
But listen, this isn't to say that we're like shitting on every diet as well. I have to give a lot of props to the paleo diet. For example, our mom went through a sickness and healed it through the paleo diet. But my thing is, like you were saying, it's supposed to be something that can last you a lifetime,
Mhm.
right? So if I'm trying to follow the keto diet, I'm not going to be able to last more than like a month and
Yeah.
be happy, right?
Well,
Like,
and you really shouldn't. There's studies like I remember Paul Saladino is one influencer I would say that we are avid fans of, but he was in the state of ketosis for like over a year, I believe, and he was like, I started having reverse effects.
reverse effects of it. So now he suggests like no more than 4 days. But that's just like an example of, so our mom, for example, using food in your favor and maybe using like a diet, elimination diet to kind of get to the root cause of what's going on. If, oh, I'm having a breakout or my skin is super dry, I have psoriasis, any autoimmune disease, okay, eliminate and then you can build on from there. So like using food as a tool instead of looking like, oh, I have to eliminate and it's going to be like this for the rest of my life. Like, no, it's
Yeah.
just working to get to the root cause and then you can build from there.
Well, and that's really that's the foundation of food. Like when we say food is fuel, we mean as you have acne, what food could have caused that? That's
Mhm.
what acne is a result of. It's a result of a unhealthy gut. So IBS, like all of those different things, or you have a deviated septum, you have I don't know,
Random, yeah.
all the examples that you just gave, it's a result of your gut and what your gut is like, and which is a direct result of what ingredients you are putting into your body. So
Mhm.
health is really and food is really meant to be a tool to heal your own self. We are not meant to have these sicknesses.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like we can kind of take this into some of the tips that we have for you guys, kind of keep the conversation going, but
We wanted
how
to
do
give
how to like approach food and a healthy lifestyle in a way that's digestible, no pun intended, and, makes it a little less scary because I feel like I used to look at healthy eating as such a burden and it felt like a chore, and now I think we can both agree it's such a blessing
Mhm.
to have access to healthy food and clean ingredients and be able to choose this way of living. And it's not forced upon us, like, it is our full free will to choose this way of living, and I'm so blessed to be able to live the way I do, but there was such a time when it felt like a burden, and it felt annoying to have to be healthy. It
Mhm.
felt annoying to eat a salad,
Yeah,
like, it didn't always feel like this, and I think you can agree on that.
definitely. It felt way more like I didn't care, I just cared that, "Oh, this is healthy, I can eat this."
Mhm.
Like, it was way more on what is unhealthy and what's healthy, not really the reasoning behind it, and I
Yeah.
think if I understood why the salad would be better than having the hoagie that was available,
Mhm.
well, if I understood the why, then I would maybe want to have the salad, which is, I think, where we are today is, like, I want to make those healthy choices, but like Kateri just said, it's very hard to get to that point. Like, how did we get this far into the health journey? So we're gonna give you obviously some actionable tips on that, but it is overwhelming,
Mhm.
to
Definitely.
say the
I
least. So take this as step 1. Listening to this episode is step 1. You are already one step closer to growing into this healthy lifestyle of eating.
Mhm. So, starting back kind of where we started this episode with reading the labels, I think that is definitely tip number one from both of us because it's very important. You're not going to understand why you're choosing to eat something if you don't understand what it's made of.
Mhm,
And that goes kind of hand in hand with starting to look at food as fuel. And I think once you start recognizing, okay, what is this made of? And maybe start reading, some of the labels on things you do eat every day and seeing like maybe it's made of chemicals, like full on factory made chemicals that you're like,
yeah,
okay, yeah, so they are trying to poison us with all this shit. Like you start to recognize it more. And I think it just helps change that perspective on food. And it can help you build that relationship of food is fuel and it's a tool for me to use and
mhm.
it can foster it. They kind of go hand in hand with each other.
Yeah. Well, and reading the labels can be very overwhelming, I think. I think it'll probably be overwhelming for most of you if this is new to you, if you normally are not reading the ingredients, which is totally okay. I was like that at one point as well. I remember the first label I ever read, I was so overwhelmed. I had
It's like, "Oh
no
my god."
yeah, I had no idea. I felt like even the ingredients that I should know, I didn't know, and I was like, "Maybe I'm just not well versed. How am I ever gonna be able to understand labels?" And I think with time, as I started to read more and more, and I realized, "Okay, what is this made up of that isn't good? Oh, okay, there's carrageenan in here. Okay, now I know that to look for that ingredient, if it's in there, I don't want it." I got well versed with the seed oils. I got well versed with the dyes, with the gums, and then I think as you read and read, you'll start to learn, like, these ingredients aren't good. Stay away from these, and then you'll look for labels that have things that you're looking for. Like, if
Mhm.
I'm going to get the ground chicken from Trader Joe's, the organic one has seed oils in it, and if I read that and although it's organic chicken, I still wait, hold on.
Hello, it's organic chicken. Chuka chuka.
Although it's organic chicken, I still read the label because you never know, and what do you know? There was a seed oil in it, and I
Which
know red flag off, don't pick that up. Don't eat
mhm.
that.
That's a great point because it's so overwhelming. I remember when I think it was COVID or right before COVID happened. I think it might have been 2020, but before that, whole world shut down. And I was following Kenzie Burke and her food combining diet, but besides that point, she opened my eyes to reading ingredients when she started like posting on her stories of I'm buying this butter, for example, over this one, and it was a vegan butter, but this one has cleaner ingredients, right? And I was like, oh, I didn't even realize to like compare the two. I would have just picked up whatever vegan butter looked nice, like
Mhm,
whatever one looked better. And it still happens to us. Like the other day, mom bought organic cottage cheese from Trader Joe's. And I was like, she brought it home and I'm like, there's a reason I didn't buy this. I forget like why. I'm like, don't tell me there's shit in it. And I looked in the back and there was carrageenan in it. And I'm like, Mom, we can't eat this. Like, And it's a shame that you would pick up organic cottage cheese and have to worry about it, but it does happen, and
Mhm.
it'll continue to happen sometimes, and you might just have to bite the bullet and be like, "Well, I spent $4 on something I can't eat, and that sucks," but it's a continuous learning process, and it'll become such a habit for you to, like, pick it up and read that it becomes less overwhelming because it's just such second nature, and then you start just knowing, like, what to not even pick up. Sometimes I'll pick things up because 'cause I'm like, "I just need to confirm that, like, I shouldn't eat this," you
Yeah,
know?
literally. But sometimes you'll get caught by surprise, like the Costco croissants. Pick them
You're like, oh my god, I can eat this.
literally, oh, I knew every ingredient. I was like, "Ah, I'll have this. Okay, are
Ah,
you kidding me?" Which
maybe I'll have 2 this morning.
Anaya has right now downstairs in our
Mhm,
apartment. But I also wanted to touch on that just to add off of that, the point where Jerry and I are right now, which is the point that you guys can like I'm not saying like we have so much left in our health journey, but I'm just saying where reading labels has definitely been ingrained in our life, I think, for the past year
mhm,
is I like Kateri just said some products you don't even know what to pick up. Like you know not to pick it up. Definitely agree. But even when I do pick it up, I am so quick with the label reading now. Like I pick it up, boom, nope. Like
it's just
I
like a
know it's inherent. Like
it's like a
I know where to
browse.
send my eyes. I know where to look, and I just, like, immediately see one thing, I know to put it down, and it's
Mhm,
such a quick process. Like, it's not like I'm in the grocery store for 10 hours trying to figure out what I can and can't buy. You know, I have my staples now that I trust, that I've already read the labels of, but it's also super quick because once you have those things in your head that you're like, "No, I don't wanna consume that," you know to look out for them, and it's just, like, the first thing you see when you read a label.
mhm. I feel like number 1 for me is a seed oil. So, like, I'll
Mhm,
scan the ingredient list. If I see a seed oil, obviously I put it down. If I don't see a seed oil, okay, then I go into, like, Carrageen, for example, is sometimes just chucked in there,
mhm.
and I can't fully explain what Carrageen is other than it's, like, a big like, gut disruptor. It's cancer causing, it does all these things, right? I don't even know what it is
That's why we're
factor
gonna have people come on and explain what
yeah,
it is to you, but
like,
we're not those people.
I'm not I'm not I'm not the person to come to for all the reasoning other than, like, I save things on Instagram and then I remember in the
Yeah.
simplest form in my brain. Anyway, so, like, I go through if I don't see a cereal, okay, what else should I check for? So I kinda have, like, chunks of stuff, and then I go through that way, and then if, like, gums, what are the gums in it? Like, xanthan gum, it isn't really the best thing for our guts, right? It's not the yeah, it's not the best thing to support your gut health, but people add it into a product because it makes it like, I don't
Gelatinized?
I don't know if it's gelatinized, but, like, for example, let me give it it's a big thing on, like, fitness TikTok to make a big, like, milkshake with ice, milk, protein powder, and then you put, like, a 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum in there, and it gets really big. Like, it fills up the whole blender. So, like,
Oh,
it
okay.
makes it big almost, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know how
It,
to
like
explain
no,
that
I know
other
what
than
it's
that
like
example.
yeah, I know what you mean. It, like, inflates it I don't know, like, blows it
Yeah.
it airs it out, I feel like, makes it
Ye
airy?
yes. So, I don't know why it would be in some products that it's in, but I guess it helps. Yeah, it gets to the point where I don't know.
That's the
Let's
thing,
move
like,
on
it's one
from
of the
it.
ingredients where I don't know the purpose of it, so why am I eating it?
Exactly. So, it's just you kinda go through, like, a process of choosing, like I said, start with the seed oil aspect, and then you can kinda move on from there, and you're not gonna know every single ingredient, but if you're reading an ingredient, you're like, "Hmm, what is that?" That's just like a red flag. It'd be
Mhm.
like a red flag in a relationship, you see that and it's like, if I'm questioning what that is, then probably shouldn't eat it because you probably know majority of food and ingredients, like
Yeah,
more than you know. So if you read something and it's a question mark, it's just like maybe just avoid it, look it
yeah,
up, and if it's okay, then you can go buy that thing.
yeah, and honestly, I think I encourage you all to maybe, like, pick up one thing in your pantry right now and read the ingredients on it and see how much you know, and then whatever ingredients you don't know, look them up,
Mhm.
or maybe find a health influencer that you really enjoy and see if they have anything about it. Like Kateri said earlier, start to follow nutritionists, but the how we developed that, I think, checklist when reading the labels is by in consuming content from nutritionists and understanding, okay, now I know to look out for that ingredient too. I'll add that to my checklist. So
Mhm.
it's kind of just like a mental checklist through our head, whereas like seed oils are the most obvious, but carrageen was one that you recently flagged for me. So now like that's on my radar when I'm reading labels. And I just
Mhm.
think if you guys get familiar with like go pick up a product in your house and read them and see how much you don't know, you're going to be more inclined to look them up and learn about it. And I
Yeah.
think that's the first step, is wanting to learn about them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Start with where you're comfortable in your own home.
If you own a company and you're not producing a podcast, you're missing out. The public consumes messaging when they're ready. Join the professional podcast network of companies and let Jacob Media Partners put you in the podcast arena. Come to our professional studio, or we'll come to your place of business and professionally produce your company podcast. Call Jacob Media right now at 267-261-3428. 267-261-3428.
Okay, moving on to tip number 2. So we talk a lot about seed oils, we've mentioned it, and just knowing what you're putting in your body. When you go out to eat, unfortunately, canola oil, sunflower oil, peanut oil, they're all very, very cheap. And especially compared to like avocado oil or coconut or extra virgin olive oil, right? So when you go to a restaurant, the majority of the things that they're cooking in the oven on on a frying pan, like whatever, however they're cooking it,
Your
is
steak, even if you
yeah,
go to a steakhouse.
it's cooked in a seed oil unless you specifically ask, like, cook it in butter, right? So eating out is just, it's not the most substantial way of living, not even from like a money perspective in terms of your health. If you're eating out 5 out of 7 days a week, chances are you're doing like way more harm than good, even if it's like, oh, I went out, but I got like a salad. But if you're using their dressing, it's going to have shit in it, right? So tip number 2 is start to make your own meals. Like, just start incorporating cooking for yourself a little bit more. Start with one more day a week than you do right now, right? Start with maybe meal prep for yourself so you don't have to cook all week,
Yeah.
and set yourself up for success. If you need to hold yourself accountable in one area, I feel like how you cook at home it's a controllable by you. You're not putting it in the hands of a chef behind a wall. It's in your hands. So you have the ability to, change your future in that way.
That's exactly what I was about to say when you were saying that. Like, it's exactly what I was thinking, was control what you can control. It seems to always be the common theme, and it's the common theme here too. If you are worried about, okay, how do I go about knowing the ingredients in my food? Making your food at home is a great way. I see myself when I make that ground beef bowl, I see myself put every single ingredient into that bowl so that when I'm eating it, I know every single ingredient that went into it. Zucchini, sweet potato, ground beef, Greek yogurt, everything that went into it, I watched happen, and I know I can trust. And therefore, I don't have a singular thought about how much I eat of it or how much or what I'm eating. It's just, okay, I feel good about this because I know the ingredients. And that's just such a simple way to control it. Like what Kateri just said, control what you can control. And if this is something you want to start doing, don't start with going out to a restaurant, because then you'll get crazy and be like, oh, well, I don't know what's in this. Like, I can't eat this. Then you become restrictive. It's like, if you don't surround yourself in that environment, it'll be way more open to the possibilities of so many foods if you just make it at home. Whereas when you go out, that's when it gets limited.
And exactly, like, you don't want to be so restrictive with yourself. Like, I still go out to eat, like, but you have to have the balance between knowing, okay, yeah, I might not be eating the cleanest tonight, but it's okay. And like, you have to talk kindly to your body and your mind in those points. But yeah, just start there. It also will save you a lot of money if you stop going out to eat so much. So
Exactly.
kind of going off of that tip is, which I love because I feel like we do a great job at this, is making it fun. So making healthy eating fun, making the meals you make a fun experience, a fun meal. I crave pizza, I crave pancakes all the time. But I'm at the point where like I'll crave my homemade pancakes and like protein pancakes over like the box Bisquick ones, right?
Yeah.
Or pizza. Like, I'm okay making my own. Like, I challenge myself all the time with unhealthy food. How can I make this myself and be comfortable and knowledgeable on like what I'm putting? Like, literally, it's the funniest thing. I'm
No,
like,
Kateri
how
does
can I
it
make
with
that?
literally everything. She'll see anything in a store and she'll be like, I can make that.
I can make that.
Applesauce, I'll sauce my own apples.
literally, and it's like the applesauce is clean, Kateri. I'm like, I can just make that myself. I'm like,
It's literally
the
she's a DIYer. She's a
no,
DIY
no.
girl.
I'm the queen of saying I'll DIY and then never DIYing.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of me. And honestly, I hate that about myself, but we're gonna work on that. But
Well,
it's funny
yeah.
the other day, I told Isabel this already. Tyler and I were in Michael's buying pumpkin carving kits, and he picked up a pumpkin Reese's, and I was like, read the label, like if you can read that and feel confident and we can eat that, like, okay. Obviously, he puts it down. I'm like, I'll make you Reese's anyway. And he's like, you literally tell me you're gonna make me everything. And you don't. And I'm like,
I know we got to start doing that though, because you can
I
make
should
your own
surprise him and make
Reese's.
him Reese's cups. Like, it's so easy to do.
Yeah.
Literally melted chocolate and peanut butter.
But
And I like them better. Like, I like the
yeah.
homemade better.
Well, and the moral of that story is the root of it's good that you even think that way because it can be fun. Like healthy eating, that's what the point of what we're saying is the healthy
Right.
eating
I forgot.
doesn't need to be limited. I don't miss out on the enjoyment of life because I'm not eating pizza or chips. Those are just the first foods that come to my head. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's like cleaner ones, but that are still unhealthy. But I'm not missing out on life. I actually thoroughly enjoy every single meal I eat. I think the food that I eat, I want to eat it now. I'm like so excited to eat it. And because we make that fun in it, like I'm not going to eat a Reese's, but that doesn't mean I can't make it fun and see myself like use all organic, natural, only peanut butter, and then some clean chocolate, dark chocolate. I'm a big fan of Hu dark chocolate, and use that chocolate as my chocolate for the Reese's cup, and then boom, I have a Reese's cup. Like that's still fun. I'm still getting the enjoyment of eating a Reese's cup, but the ingredients are just a little bit better. And you can do that in so many different things. Like I have a million examples off the top of our head. Our brownies, my pumpkin spice latte,
The
ingredients.
cottage cheesecake that mom's been making.
Oh my
Like,
god, yeah, we've been having cottage cheesecake, and it's literally tastes exactly like cheesecake.
the
And it's so
cottage
good.
cheesecake.
That's what I was
Cottage
cheese cheesecake.
The
You just keep
pumpkin
interrupting.
Sorry. I'm so excited.
Yeah, my pumpkin spice latte. If I were to get this at that's done.
Yeah.
That's
It's like
basically
nope.
my ice cube. If I were to get that at Starbucks, it would be terrible ingredients. So I decided to make my own coffee fun and make my own pumpkin spice latte, which I much rather enjoy than having the 900 calorie pumpkin spice coffee from Starbucks.
Like literally.
Crazy. Or Dunkin', whatever the hell it is. I'm sure they're all 900
Like
calories.
they're not good. It's just like,
Literally, if you're worried about labels, red flag, don't drink a Starbucks drink. Don't drink a Dunkin' drink. Just don't. It's labels are never good. I'll tell you
You're
that.
like,
I'll make
yeah.
it easy for you.
Seriously, I don't
You don't
even
even have
know.
to read the label.
But that's just an example where it's like, I still want to participate in the fun fall drinks. How can we make this ourselves? And we came up with a recipe, a very simple recipe that you can make it every single morning. That's how easy it is for you to do.
I do.
Like, you're still
I'm
participating
going
in
through
getting
cans of pumpkin puree. I'm like,
yeah. Honestly, I'm not a big pumpkin flavored drink girl. I like it. Like when we made it, I was like, this is fine. I'll drink this. But like, I'm not going to go out of my way to make it every single day. But that's just an example of like, okay, you can still have fun and you can still drink pumpkin spice lattes and enjoy them. Like it's not miserable. Isabel
Yeah.
loves them so much. And you can even make a batch creamer of it with the same ingredients. Just make a big jar of it and have it in your refrigerator. Like once you start realizing that if it's being made at Starbucks, it can somehow be made in your kitchen.
yeah, exactly. And the moral of it is just like the world of healthy eating is way bigger than you think. There is a plethora of healthy ingredients just as much as there are unhealthy. So don't forget that there's always healthy food available to you that you can use and combine to make whatever the hell you want. Literally, I think there's a recipe for whatever you want in life. I've never had a problem with missing out on like my sweets or anything. Literally, like those donuts. Like I made donuts the other day because we wanted healthier donuts.
Okay, I feel like kind of all of this really does lead into the last tip, which is you don't need to be so restrictive with yourself. I know that it might feel, like we said, really overwhelming at first, especially when you start reading ingredients, but the more you begin to eat whole, clean foods and cook for yourself more, you're going to start feeling a lot better on the inside, and it's going to be reflecting on the outside as well. So much to the point where if you go to eat a piece of cake at your friend's birthday or pizza for a movie night with your friends or your boyfriend, you're going to feel better doing it because I feel like your body can process it better.
Mhm.
Like I always say, because I don't fill it with a bunch of junk, if I eat something that might be junk, like it just kind of cleans right out because I
I
don't have a bunch
that
of junk piling up.
That's what I feel like. I feel like every time if I were to have, like ice cream or a piece of cake, like I literally digest it so quickly because my body's like, okay, well, I'm not used to this, so let's get this out of the body.
Mhm.
And it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me mentally or physically, which is good because I just think when you show up for yourself all week and fuel your body with good fuel all week, that one moment of, subpar fuel isn't
Mhm.
really gonna affect the others. So I think that's a really good point.
Well, and even going off what we said, like we love this pizza place in Cape May and they have the best brick oven pizza. And Taylor had said it to me once this summer and she was like, when I eat pizza now, if like on the rare occasion I do, I literally break it down of like, okay, yes, it's mainly a carb heavy meal. My body needs carbs and I'm going to work out tomorrow morning. Regardless of what I'm eating, I was going to work out tomorrow. So now I'm going to have a lot of carbs fueling that workout and I'm going to feel really good.
Mhm.
And that's kind of how I feel like we approach it now is more of, okay, so say I am eating something that I don't eat daily because of what it is. It's still made up of something. I'm still
Yeah.
getting something from the meal. Like I'm not going to McDonald's, and getting chicken nuggets.
Nuggets,
Like
it's not even
that's not
chicken.
what I mean by like if I have an unhealthy meal,
Yeah.
and that's just a whole nother topic of fast food restaurants.
Yeah. Oof, God.
But it's just being able to get to a place where you feel confident in what you put into your body daily so that if there is a time where you're like questioning what you're eating, but you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna enjoy it and I don't want to remove that happiness from my life, your body's gonna do okay with it because it's in a great
Yeah.
place because you set that foundation for it.
It allows you to believe that your body will process it. Like, if
Mhm.
I had a week of eating very poorly and then continue to eat poorly, I would think like, "Wow, my body's not gonna take this as well. Oh, wow, I am gonna, like, be mentally affected by this or
Mhm.
physically affected." Like, rightfully so, is
Yeah.
what I feel like, but when I have it on a rare occasion, I don't feel that way, and I think it's not in a sense of I eat clean all week so I can have that one unhealthy treat. It's in a sense of like I really enjoy eating clean all week, and like I that's the whole point of this episode is Kateri and I really do enjoy reading the labels and eating that way. It is not a lifestyle change for us. It's a lifestyle that we embrace and love. But
Mhm.
if we are in those moments of my roommate's getting ice cream, getting a blizzard, and I want one, I'm not going to restrict myself then because I think that's a really healthy balance of allowing your body to have it and knowing that you are healthy enough to bounce back and process it. And I think
Mhm.
it helps develop the mindset on it almost.
Yeah.
It feels like a super healthy relationship that's now fostered within me and my relationship with food. Like I just don't even really consider what I'm eating anymore because I just always know it's clean. So then when I don't, like I don't know.
Well, and I feel like that comes back to trusting yourself. It's like this is all so intertwined that you do all these other things in your life surrounding food and nutrition that you're trusting yourself to make a good decision and your body is trusting you. It's
Mhm.
trusting you to know that this isn't gonna you're not gonna have pizza every single day of your life, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna eat takeout every single day. It knows that it can trust you and your mind knows that it can trust you. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's just all so interconnected. And I think even to kind of wrap this up is talk about like confidence. We talked about having confidence and self-doubt and all that last episode. A lot of it I feel like is fueled by how we fuel our body
Mhm.
and having that mental clarity to be able to get through the negative thoughts and get through all that, like how what you put in your body truly is the foundation for how you're going to live your life in
Mhm.
general and every aspect of it.
That's a great point because I feel like a lot of the time people look at other people and say, "Why is that person so disciplined going to the gym? Why is that person so smart? Why can they do this? How do they get to bed every single night at 10? How are they processing this? You know what I mean? Like, I always look at people and I'm like, wow, it's so much more than just, oh, they're disciplined. Oh,
Mhm.
they have a good mindset on their shoulders. No, they could be fueling their bodies really well. Like, I think that the way that we think, I think the thoughts we have, the mindset that we have is highly due to how we fuel our bodies. Like,
Yeah.
my mind is so clear that I'm able to think the way I think.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I just wanted to point that out because I think that's a really good point, that if you want to level up in all areas of your life, level up your diet, level up your body, and your mind will be right there as well.
Because at the end of the day, there's gonna be there's gonna be a day when you're not working anymore. There's gonna be a day when the money might cut off and you're just working on retirement money, but you're still in that same body. Your
Mhm.
body is with you to your deathbed. So you might as well fuel it and treat it with the respect that you believe you deserve.
Well, oh my God, now I have to say something about that.
Okay.
I was just
Let's
gonna
hear
say,
it.
like, you're right. Like, that's a really strong why, I think, like, if you find a good why, but that's a really strong why for you and I both, is that I don't wanna eat unclean ingredients, because when I think about it and break it down, I have too much respect for myself to be like, "Let me put this unhealthy thing into my body that is going to disturb my gut, disturb my inner peace. Why would I put that into my body? I know it's not gonna benefit me." Like, I'm truly only interested in having things in my body that benefit me, that make me better, that are going to raise my potential, and, like, when something doesn't, I'm like, "Eh, I have no interest in it." Like, I
Mhm.
have no interest in eating pizza that much anymore because 'cause I'm like, "Doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
Doesn't better me." And I just think that comes from knowing that this body is going to be mine forever. I would love to live until I'm 120. That would be epic, and the only way to try and get there is by fueling my body good. And I feel like just having that why and understanding that your body is your vehicle through life,
Mhm.
you need to fuel it good.
Your body truly is your temple. It's your best friend and it's your home. It's where
Yeah.
you live every single day. So treating it with the utmost respect and care is crucial to life.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of just, I feel like, the brink of talking about healthy eating. And like we said in this episode, we're not going to try and come at you with all these statistics and case studies on why we don't eat this and why we do eat that. We're going to leave that to the experts, and you
Which we
can,
have plans for. We have
yes,
plans
you
for
can
them.
stay tuned for that. Very exciting. What's to come. So I don't want you guys to think we're just like leaving out a giant chunk of information. I just don't want to try and give it to you like I'm the most knowledgeable girl in the world and have all of this in the back of my brain, because
Yeah.
that's just not true.
Well, and I feel like this needed to focus really on, we talk about healthy eating so much. What is healthy eating to us? Like, what
Mhm.
is the lifestyle that we do live? And I feel like people may be curious about that just because it is something that we talk about so much and promote. Like, that almost is the entire this or that series. A lot of it goes into healthy eating, but also
Mhm.
healthy ingredients just in everything
Yeah.
into our body. So I just think it's a really big part of us, and has led to our growth and led to making us who we are. So we wanted to kind of elaborate on that. It's something that everyone can do, and we want you all to be as passionate about it as we are. Like, my two very best friends are just the same as passionate about it, and it's amazing because now we're so aligned that when, like, my friend brought me figs the other day, and he was like, "Don't worry, like, they're only like freeze-dried figs. The only ingredient is figs." And it was just like good to have someone thinking the same way I do, that I didn't even have to worry about eating them. Or
Yeah.
when I do go to their apartment, I don't worry about ingredients because I know they're aligned with me. And I want you all to be that way too.
Exactly. Yes. So we hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you can get some insight from it. And if there's ever any questions that you guys have, or need help writing a grocery list, whatever, like we're here to be your friends and your confidants and just help you, like Isabel said, become the best versions of yourself. So always here to talk and explore and have like an open conversation about this with you guys, because you're the reason that we're doing all of this and we talk about this and get so passionate about it, is sharing it with you.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Isabel, tell them what to do.
Like, subscribe, comment, follow, interact with us, please.
Please.
We love you. You love us. Why would you not want to support us like we support you?
Duh.
So drop a follow, drop a like, drop a comment, send this podcast to someone else, send it to
Subscribe
someone.
to our YouTube channel.
Yeah. Subscribe.
When we say subscribe, I don't mean like on Apple Podcasts. I mean YouTube.
Subscribe to everything.
Subscribe to my life.
Send this podcast too. I also want you guys to share it just because we are trying to better everyone. That really is the point of the episode. So we want to better as many people and you want to better as many people as possible. So share the wealth.
Share it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we hope you all have an amazing rest of your week and just continue to crush your goals. As always, thank you for your support and we'll see you next time.